Big Daddy here, and today we're going to take a look at one of the latest releases of the OB Revenge family, Mate Revenge. So let's get started. Jody James, who puts out the fantastic OB Revenge, has put out a new release using the Mate desktop environment. So if you're a fan of Mate and a fan of Arch, then you may want to stick around and check this out. So what exactly is Mate Revenge? Well, let's go to the tape. Mate Revenge is based off of Arch Linux. It's using the latest 1.18 version of Mate, but it is also using the Revenge repos that are maintained by Josiah Ward. It's using the Revenge tools that were created by Jody James to allow people to do things easier in Arch. It is also backed by the Revenge community. By default, it has the Mate tweak installed, which is working great. It has the brisk menu installed. It's using a dark theme, which is a customized version of the Black Mate theme. It's also got the artwork of Carl Schneider, and I highly suggest you check out Carl's artwork because normally I would go out and find a great looking wallpaper to do a distro review. But I think Carl's artwork is so good that it deserves to be left on the desktop. So check his work out. So what does Mate use up? Well, first let's look at what we have here. It's using the kernel 4.10.13 and again the latest 1.18 version of Mate. It is running on my system, which is an i7, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and installed on an SSD hard drive. As far as resources are concerned, I've been doing a lot of things on this, which is using 1.6 gigabytes of RAM right now. On cold boot, it was around 700, which is probably right around the lowest that I've seen on any distro that I've reviewed on this system. So again, we have the brisk menu, and the software that we have installed on Mate Revenge is limited. It's not limited to how much you can install, it's just limited on what is installed by default, so that you can build up your system to what exactly you want it to be. So it doesn't come with an Office suite. For internet, it comes with Google Chrome by default. I installed Chromium, testing out the software installation tool that I'll look at. Graphics, you had Eye of Mate. I installed GIMP. Under accessories comes all of the Mate tools, but in here are also the Mate Revenge tools. So you have the Mate Revenge Live USB Creator. You have the Mate Revenge Software tool, which we're going to take a look at right now. And this is a one-click install type program like Ubuntu Mate's Software Boutique. So you can click on Google Chrome, on Firefox, FileZilla, and then click over to the Media tab and install GIMP, Totem, Spotify, all of the major popular programs that people install right away when they install a system, including Office. Once you check all of the boxes you want to install, you hit Install Selected Packages, it updates the repos and installs them, and it works flawlessly. All right, so you also have the Mate Revenge tools, where it enables you to install the codecs, install Flash. You have a kernel manager where you can switch between kernels. You have the bootloader configuration, shortcut to get your NVIDIA drivers, and the VirtualBox drivers. This is a tool that is specific to the Revenge family, and it's something that's welcomed to users that maybe are not as familiar with the inner workings of Arch, but want to get their feet wet and try Arch out. And this enables them to do that without knowing every single terminal command. It basically walks you through the steps of installing this stuff. And speaking of installing, I wanted to mention the installer itself. So you have the option of the Calamari's installer, but you also have the Mate Revenge installer. And that's what I used to install this on the system. And it is basically like the Revenge installer, but it's specific for this Mate Revenge install. And it just walks you through checkbox after checkbox, where you would normally, if you were installing Arch from scratch, you would have to enter the terminal commands manually. But it asks you what your username you want it to be, what the password you want it to be. It just walks you through the process. So simple and so easy. And you come out with a brand new Arch system without having to go through all of the complexity of installing it by scratch. All right. So you have the Mate Revenge welcome screen, which is something you'll see as soon as you boot up. And again, you have shortcuts to the VirtualBox modules, the NVIDIA drivers, the software installation tool. You can update your system from here. But you also have the links to the G+ community, the offline user guide, and the forums. So this is something that if you're having issues, if you're having problems, this is where you can go to find help. All right, so going into the control center, you have the normal Mate settings, but it also comes with LightDM settings. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can also get to the Revenge Live USB creator from here and the Revenge tools. So there's many ways to get to these tools. You just have to pick which way you want to go. So while we're in here, Mate Tweak is installed, and like I said, it works really well. You have no difference between it running on Ubuntu Mate or running on Mate Revenge. You can change all your interface from here. You can change the panel layout, which it gives you the normal panel layouts that you would come with Ubuntu Mate. It gives you all of the features that you can enable, the indicators, the HUD, the launcher. And from here, you can do the window management. Now, I changed the appearance from the right to the left for the close and minimize buttons because I prefer them over to the left, but they were on the right to start out with. And for the Marco compositor, that's what it's the Marco software compositor on by default. Now, until I install the NVIDIA drivers, I normally will put it on the GPU compositor. So as far as the theme is concerned, as I said, it comes with the black Mate. It comes with the Mate themes, but Jody customized it using different icons, and I believe the icons by default were the full dark blue vivid, I believe, or full dark blue, and this is what it looks like by default. But because I left Carl's artwork on, I figured it works better to put the red folders on to go with the desktop wallpaper. So the close and minimize and the icons are pretty much the only two things that I have changed as far as the way the desktop looks. And again, you got the normal Pantheon type layout, which you can change. You have Plank running at the bottom and your normal indicators on the top right with clipboard and the volume and the log out and restart options. So with the software tool and the AUR combined, you have access to pretty much any kind of software you want. With the Revenge tools, you have the ability to customize your system the way you want, along with being built on top of Mate, which is already highly customizable, which means you can pretty much do anything you want with this desktop. And I think, Jody, you have raised the bar with this release. And I think this is going to be a highly popular release. What do you think? Are you going to give it a try? Again, I will say that if you enjoy Mate and you enjoy Arch, I think it is worth the try. So until next time, Big Daddy out.